I don't know why, but I suddenly have the urge to blow $32.99 plus applicable sales tax. That'll work. Well, hi hum diddly ho, neighbor, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. Today we got ourselves a Blu-ray review of X-Men Dark Phoenix in glorious 4K. Yeah, apparently now it's called X-Men Dark Phoenix as opposed to Dark Phoenix, which I don't really understand why they got rid of the X-Men from the title to begin with. Almost like the studio was ashamed to put the X-Men brand on this movie, which now that I'm thinking about it actually does kind of make a little bit of sense. So you might be asking yourself, hey Mr. Brockopp, why would you spend your hard-earned monies on a terrible X-Men movie like this day one of release? Well, for a couple reasons that I can't fully justify, but you know, I've got all the other X-Men movies, so it only made sense to get this one. And also, I kind of liked the Target exclusive with this really cool slipcover with the fancy artwork, and this one also comes with a collectible poster, and well, I do like me some free posters, so I figured, why the heck not? So anyways, you can see here we got this really cool exclusive artwork of Jean Grey. This is just some really nice artwork, and it just really stands out from the regular Blu-ray cover, which if we just take off the slip cover, you can see that's what the normal Blu-ray cover is, so really no special packaging with the Target exclusive, just this really cool slip cover, which, you know, is cool. So anywho, if we just take the Blu-ray and open it up like you do, so over here you got your 4K disc and your Blu-ray disc, the 4K disc being the more colorful and flamboyant of the two. And as I mentioned earlier, the Target exclusive does come with this cool limited edition poster, so if we just unfold it like so. So as you can see here, this is the really cool limited edition poster. It's got Jean Grey, Xavier and Magneto on it, some more fun, colorful stuff similar to the slipcover, which is pretty cool, except I don't know what it is, but the material that this poster is printed on feels kind of weird, like it's weirdly soft, not quite as sturdy as like some other posters you might find like in this kind of folded up fashion, so the material is kind of weird, so if I do ever end up putting this on my wall, I definitely am going to frame it because I feel like if I try to tape this up, it's gonna like disintegrate on me or something. And of course, here's the digital download copy code. If it's a first can have it. Enjoy yourself. Or at least try to. So before we go any further, I'll tell you my thoughts on this movie itself. Now, I actually did do a full-on review of this when it came out back in June, so if you want to see my complete thoughts on this movie, then go check out that playlist up above. But anyway, yeah, I don't really disagree with most people on this movie. It's not particularly good. You know, this movie really just feels like the black sheep of the group because, you know, we had this prequel trilogy that ended like 3 years ago, and then suddenly we're getting another in this series, and it's not really setting up a new trilogy. And also the fact this was also the last X-Men movie that was going to get made under Fox before Disney took them over, and they're going to be rebooted, integrated into the MCU. So pretty much nobody really cared about this movie because, well, it's the end of this current timeline. It's not going to translate over into the MCU, so it's kind of like, yeah, who really cares at this point? You know, this movie was definitely a bit longer, was probably a lot better in its original conception, but then it was cut way down. Bunch of reshoots happened, so we really only got a shell of what the filmmakers were trying to achieve with this movie. I mean, you got all this stuff like the Dark Phoenix, which was originally done in X-Men The Last Stand, so it's really not all that different compared to X-Men The Last Stand, which is unfortunately the better interpretation of this source material. You know, and you got Jessica Chastain there playing some random alien that we don't know what the hell she is, what language she's speaking, or what species she is. Apparently she was supposed to be like a Skrull or something. They were going to introduce the Skrulls here, but they kind of had to nix that because Captain Marvel did the Skrulls, and it just wouldn't have made any sense. And then the final battle was changed to a train crash because it was representative of this movie. Of course, you know, being a train wreck. So yeah, X-Men Dark Phoenix, or simply Dark Phoenix, It's not all that good, but I still went and saw it opening night back in June. Got this really cool X-Men keychain because of it, and I bought the Blu-ray day one. Who's the real sucker here? Oh yeah, that's me. But anywho, picture and sound quality. The movie, of course, looks really nice on both 4K and Blu-ray. The Fox X-Men movies always look really, really nice in 4K, including the 4K re-releases of the original X-Men trilogy. Those look really good. This one as well. And as far as the bonus content goes, there's actually an 80-minute making-of documentary about this movie in here, which, you know, I like how it's nice and in-depth, and the editing is a little bit more, it's a little less edited than a lot of these behind-the-scenes featurette stuff, so you get to see a lot of, you know, on-the-spot B-roll and stuff, which is really cool and all. It's also just really painful to watch because you can tell this was all shot when they were still filming the movie and stuff. There's not a lot of release stuff in there. So you can really tell that these guys were really trying to make something special and something really, really good, but that's definitely not how it turned out in the end. So, you know, seeing them try to talk about making this a psychological thriller and, you know, having it relate to schizophrenia and things like that, it's not shown well in the movie, but that's what they were trying to do, but that's not how it went down. And of course, there's some deleted scenes in there, which of course don't exactly save the movie, and there's an audio commentary, as well as this tiny little thing with Nicholas Hoult in the Beast makeup, being like, hey kids, you want to learn how to fly the X-Jet? Doop, dee-doop, doop. You know, just something they kind of threw in there for the heck of it, so, you know, there's actually some decent bonus content in here for a not-so-decent movie. So basically, if you weren't the biggest fan of this movie in the theater, you're probably not gonna rush out and go buy the movie day one or day two. You know, I could tell that there's not a real demand to buy this movie and own it because when I got to Target like later in the afternoon, they had 1 million copies of their exclusive, and Best Buy even had plenty of their steelbooks left over. So if you want to snag this movie for like collecting purposes or completion purposes, and you want to get a cool special edition, well, you're probably in luck because nobody else wants them. So if you want them, go get them. Or don't. Don't be like me and waste money. You could put that towards getting a sandwich or something. Might even be able to get 2 sandwiches for that money. So, those are my thoughts on X-Men Dark Phoenix in 4K. Don't really recommend picking it up unless you just really, really want to. But anyway, if you guys have seen Dark Phoenix in the theater, or if you picked up the Blu-ray, or if you're wondering if the MCU is going to try and do Dark Phoenix in a few years after they integrate it into the MCU properly, let me know about it down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.